Hi, I'm Isaac and I'm 13 years old and I want to be a gardener when I'm older. I wanted to build a pond in my garden, so I looked on the internet and I found a really good video. So I decided to contact lovegardening.com because I had a couple of questions. And to my amazement, Chris from the video came to my house and showed me how to make a pond.
So this is Isaac. He saw the pond video on lovegardening.com and he's got in touch because he's making his own pond and he wants a few pointers. So we're going to have a look at what he's been up to and see if we can help. Let's go. So it's like a raised pond. Was this a raised bed? Was it full of soil?
Yeah.
And you've dug all that out? Yeah. So you've dug it really deep, and that's fantastic because that's going to give real depth to your water. It's going to be good protection for any frogs, or even if you put some fish in. Yeah. They'll be able to get down in the deep water in winter, and even if the pond freezes really quite deep. Yeah. The only thing I've noticed though is you've gone quite steep with the sides, and by doing that, wildlife will be able to get in, frogs will be able to get in, but they might struggle to get out. And even, for example, if a hedgehog happened to fall in, with those steep sides, it'd never be able to clamber out and it'd drown, bless it. Yeah. So what you needed to have done really was make some shelves that go down like steps into the middle. Yeah. It's not a problem. I think we can probably get in there and build some shelves in there before we line it. Yeah. So I'm happy to help you do that. Just so you know what I'm talking about though, you know that pond you saw on the programme on lovegardening.com? How do you fancy going and have a quick look at it, and I'll show you how the shelves work and how the plants are sat on the shelves? Yeah? Yeah? Cool, right, we'll go have a look. And here's the pond you saw. As you can see, that's really settled down and starting to look natural. And the plants that we've put in, that's a water forget-me-not, and that's a miniature bulrush. And we talked about bulrushes earlier, didn't we, and how they get quite big in the wild, and you've seen those. Well, that's a miniature version. They're on a shelf that's probably about 10 centimetres deep, and then it goes down to another shelf, and we've got other plants on that shelf, and it works its way down until you get right into the depths there where the water lily is, and that's at a depth of about just above my knee, and I know that because I paddled in and planted it myself. But what we need to do is we need to get into the pond. I've got a tape measure. We just need to measure how wide it is, and then we can work out how wide our individual shelves can be. Yeah. All right, so let's hop in and have a measure. Water like that, so that's 65 to 70 centimetres. And then we'll need a nice pool in the bottom. Right, if you jump out and pass me a few stones, and we'll start building the first shelves. Thank you. So there we go. Obviously you can see we've now got a series of shelves, but they also look like steps. Yeah. And like I was saying, especially once you've got your plants on there, anything that falls in should be able to work its way back up to the top. So that's the next thing we need to do. We just need to cut a couple of strips of underlay, lay them down the steps or across the shelves, and then put the underlay over everything, and then the liner goes in and we turn the water on. Right, Isaac, this is fantastic. You've got it all filled up and it's just level with the top of that wall. That's perfect. It's worked out really well, hasn't it? Yeah. Right, what we need to do now then is just trim this liner off just beyond the edge of the wall, and then we can sit some rocks on top all the way around just to hide the liner and also to weigh it down. And that's it, you know, it's job done. It's just a case of putting some plants in and leaving it to its own devices. Yeah. Top stuff. Right, I think that is it, isn't it? That's more or less all the stones on the edge, and you can't really see much liner. So job's a good one. Right, it's time for you to go get your Speedos on now, because we brought you a little present, given you're so enthusiastic. Some pond plants, but you're going to need to get in there to put them in the right place. So off you go. Look at his face. Right, so I've brought you some plants. They're all a bit quirky, a bit fun, because what's the point in building a pond if you can't have fun? So get in then. Take the plunge. How is it?
Freezing.
Freezing? On a day like today? It's perfect then, isn't it? Right, so the first one, this needs to go on shelf number 1, which is 0 to about 15 centimetres. So that's the fibre optic plant. And can you see how it's got like little flowers on the end? It's like a type of water grass. And it looks like one of those fibre optic lights that you'd have on your house. So there you go. Shelf number 1. You can put it either side, whichever side suits you. Happy there? So as you can see, it's just starting to poke its tiny little fibre optic like flowers out of the surface, and it'll grow a bit taller and come out, and it's going to look really pretty, isn't it? Right, next we've got this, which is called Greater Spearwort. It's a ranunculus which is exactly the same as a buttercup, and you've got buttercups in this meadow. Yeah. before they make the hay, it was full of buttercups the other week, wasn't it? So that's going to be a nice contrast to the hay meadow behind. So that can go on shelf number 2. And this is reed manor grass, which is really just a water reed, kind of like a big grass. Shelf number 1, and these nice tall fronds are perfect for damselflies and dragonflies just to sit on and bask in the sun before having a dip in the water. There you go. And then the jewel in every pond, as I call it, the water lily. Now this one's called Attraction, and it's got nice pink flowers, which your mum's going to think's lovely, isn't she? There you go. So there you have it, that's your pond. You've done a fantastic job. Yeah. You feel proud of yourself? I'm proud of you. Well done. Now I hope you're not going to get bored now, because you've just got to sit back and just watch that. Yeah. And just watch the nature move in. Before you know it, you'll have water boatmen in there. You'll have pond skaters on the surface. And the next thing you know, you'll be seeing frogs. Yeah. Top stuff. You've given so many different creatures a home by doing that, and I hope you're giving yourself a lot of satisfaction as well. Yeah? Good lad.
And I just want to give a big thanks to lovegardening.com for helping me build the pond.